Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lucky ducks, clever kittens, buckle up. We're going to be in for a very fun ride with a passionate, energetic, and an incredibly effective and proven real estate rock star. I think he's a bit of a rock star because of his energy and his passion to impact others. And I think in our industry, that's what makes you a rock star, is if you have high energy, great content, and actually sincerely want to impact others and are doing it. Today, we're joined by Dean Aguilar. He's the CEO of not one, not two, but three platforms. Dean Aguilar Team, which averages about 140 deals a year or more. Not too shabby. He's also the CEO and owner of XDR Realty, the parent brokerage that owns that his team is in, and have a lot of other agents there as well, building their own business. And then he's also the CEO of his brand Truth Hustle. You can find him on Instagram. You can follow him on Instagram at Truth Hustle. All right, so go check him out there. And today he's going to share with us a 45-day game plan for getting 3 deals just from the power of branding. He's been on a tear helping turning agents into like little superstars, if you will, just through the power of branding. There's a lot of technical stuff. There's a lot of well-known mainstream stuff, prospecting expired, FISBOs, etc. Today, Dean is going to give us a peek behind the curtain of how to actually get 3 deals or more within 45 days through the power of branding. Most of us hear the phrase branding and we're like, what's branding? It's this big thing. It's this vague thing. Today, we're going to know how to actually do it. Dean, welcome to the Get Listing Summit, my man.
Hey, thank you so much for that. Holy cow. You know what, man? I got to keep you around. That was like the best introduction I've ever had in my whole damn life. Jeez.
Nailed it.
You've done that before. Love it.
Samsonite.
Jeez, man. I love it. I love it. I'm excited to be here, man.
Well, you know what? I get more excited the more excited I am. I feel more excited when I'm more excited about speakers' content. I know that was like a double positive or however you want to see, whatever the phrase is for that. But sincerely, I think we're going to make a big impact on people listening today because branding is a vague topic and people either poo-poo it or don't understand it or think they're doing it, right? Because it's just logo. They think branding is logo. Yep. And it's not, right? Yep. Now, you have this process, this system, this plan, this magic that you're going to share with us today. You're going to demystify and take it from mystique and magic to implementable in a system. You've got a 45-day game plan to help agents through branding get 3 deals.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
What I want to ask you before we dive into this, before we dive into how to, here's what I want to know. What was happening in your business, your personal life, or in your brokerage that was the catalyst or the driving force behind you sitting down and creating this?
You know what? It was, sitting down, looking at the business as a whole and looking at the pillars of what we were doing, which a lot of it was just basic tried and true, right? Which totally works. But as the years went by and we've noticed that obviously so much technology, a lot of the ways that the consumer was viewing all the listings and, the information, I've been in it for 17 years, right? So when I started, there was none of Zillows and none of that stuff. Not exists, right? And so as this came about, we noticed that that's where the eyes were, right? And I started doing video, believe it or not, almost 8 years ago, before it became, obviously ever popular to do it. And I noticed an immediate impact of, just as an example, I'll give you an example, right? Just when I was going on either listing appointments or let's say we were fighting for, because there's been times obviously in this business where things were, the market's been really hot. So we had to compete against multiple offers and stuff like that. I was shooting video left and right to listing agents, to clients, to this, that, and the other. And I was winning over multiple offers with things like VA loans, that people kind of sometimes tend to look at differently. And I knew immediately that was the way to go, to start branding me as a person, to be that person of shooting video, or I represent this. And that was a big shift.
Interesting. And so then off of that, you started to basically codify or put together, kind of distill, like, how could this be a system? This thing that I stumbled into because of whatever reason, right? Instinct, creativity, you started doing this thing and it's working. And you're like, okay, how do I make this repeatable?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the first things I do also with any of the agents that we bring on or talk to and work through this program is you have to self-reflect on who you are as a person, Okay. Because I think you touched about it just briefly, which is like a lot of people's like, all right, great. I'm going to put a nice logo with a house on it, you know, and,
Right.
and start throwing some stuff out. And look, shooting video is great, but shooting video with a purpose or with you as a person and your interests behind it is impactful. So here's what I mean by that is if Andre loves skiing and, snowboarding, then ultimately what I would be doing is I would be creating an entire brand about showcasing people in the area with the interest that I like. So ski shops, areas that, that you can go to that have, that meet with that in mind, with skiing and snowboarding. I always like the niches because I think it's the most impactful to the consumer. And also they can relate most to you because there's a big difference between just talking about random stuff and then me talking about something that I'm so passionate in. It shows on video, it shows on your social media. And that's where you're ultimately going to get the most traction, is having those like-minded people. Now, having blanketed branding is good too. And by default, you'll have that. But man, it's lights out when it comes to really finding out who you are and what you want to deliver.
Okay. All right. I'm a
Did that
new
help?
agent. Yeah, it does. It does. This sets us up perfectly to transition to my next question. So I'm a new agent,
Okay.
or I'm an agent that's new to your universe, Planet Aguilar. Okay.
Great. Love it.
I join your team. I join your brokerage. You got this 45-day plan. I say, Dean, I'm all yours. Let's go. How do I do it? What do I do? Where do we start? What does it look like? What's the first thing I do on day one?
Okay, beautiful. I love it. First thing we do is obviously we talk about exactly what we just talked about. Likes, interest. I think the most important thing, man, is too many times agents, they're lying to themselves on certain things. And here's what I mean by that. If Andre knows damn well that he will never door knock a day in his life, then I'm not going to make you door knock. I'm not. They enter a brokerage, thinking, okay, I'm going to give it a try with everything, right? But they're not being honest with themselves. And I know too many brokerages start shoving things down their throat on, you need to do this, this, and this. I'm not a believer in that. I totally understand all the pillars that are out there, and I will explain all the pillars to every single person that comes in, but we have to get hyper focused on the things that will make an immediate impact on their business today, right?
Okay.
And then work on the other pillars. So I would sit you down. I would learn a little bit about your experiences in either, hopefully I would have hired you from customer service or sales, right?
Okay.
You have some experience of that. And then what your weaknesses are, what your strengths are, and then go all in on the strengths. The one thing that I think people kind of fall short on is the database immediately.
Okay.
So I would sit you down. I would pull every single Facebook friend, LinkedIn friend, Instagram friend, download it onto a CSV file, right? And then we're going to immediately start targeting those people with video, social media ads, and then content repeatedly, right? From day one.
On Facebook.
On Facebook, Instagram, and video.
Okay.
So as an example, if you're a new agent and you really don't have any business at all, like, you're not, don't have any listings or all, the team that you're on, the brokerage that you're on has them, right? So there's something going on there, right?
You can always borrow listings.
You can always borrow. Like my team right now, we have 13 listings coming up in the next, I think, 30 days, right? Between now and April 21st.
Okay.
And so every single agent right now is literally day by day going out, to their database, grabbing a phone and saying, hey guys, I want to let you know about a listing that's coming up in El Cajon, 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, this, that, and the other. And they're shooting it to their database. And what they're doing is they're taking their top 10 people, like their hot database, right? And they're instant messaging them and engaging in a conversation. Okay. So that's kind of like day one, week one is immediately hitting the database. With that being said, I'm a firm believer on automation. Okay, so we need to put something in with the team. They're blessed because they definitely get a lot of the tech, and things in place for them to have automatically follow up and drip campaigns. So if you don't have a basic CRM, get one. But besides the CRM itself, there are so many other tools that allow someone to stay in contact with them. One of them being Agent Legend, which is beautiful. I don't know if you're familiar with Agent Legend.
I've heard of them.
Okay, great tool, very inexpensive. It can record your own voice for dropping, the slide dials, which drop in your voicemails, text campaigns that you create yourself. So if you can imagine, one of the biggest problems that most people have is they're transactional, right? And so you sell a deal and you forget about that person. Like it just, a month goes away, 2 months goes away, and you're like, shit, I haven't called this person. Now I feel bad. Right. But if you have a system in place to where they're automatically touched with something of value, whether it be a home equity, something that's going on in the market, you can set this with Agent Legend and forget about it. It'll automatically do that. And obviously it's not a replacement for phone calls, but it's another way, it's another way to go.
Got it. Okay.
The other thing that I would do is I would immediately start working with you on what we talked about prior. So, because I want to know everything about Andre, right? So I need to know how you want your message to be delivered to the world. And again, I think people think too much about, I just want to be, I want to be knowledgeable. I want to this, that, and the other. And if anybody's ever seen any of my videos, again, if you guys can go on Truth Hustle and see it, super just like non-scripted. All right. It just cut and dry, a lot of a lot of slang, but that's who I am. Like, that's how I deliver information, and it works for me. People are drawn to that. I always tell everybody, please do not be so super scripted. People want authenticity, but they also want to know and have an insight of who you are as a person, and it's all different. A lot of people, obviously, people speak differently. The way that they think can come out on camera. So those are the first things that I do. After I identify that with you, Andre, I want to make sure I create a show brand, right, around you and start pumping out content on your YouTube page, on your Instagram, on your Facebook. Instagram and Facebook will now let you zap directly into LinkedIn. So for anybody who's not following me on LinkedIn, follow me on LinkedIn at Dean Aguilar. You will see that all the videos that I get posted on my social media get automatically moved over to LinkedIn. And I am definitely bullish on LinkedIn these days because it's got a high organic reach than where it was, so as an example, Facebook was there at one point. It's not there anymore, right? Algorithms every other day. So LinkedIn is definitely a place where, you can have a lot of good engagement. And so I would create all that, and I would start generating as much content. And for me, with the 45-day plan, it is 2 to 3 pieces per day, all the way through a day 45.
Wow, 2 to 3 pieces a day.
A day. Now, it's funny because anybody that's watching this is looking like, I mean, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I know there's a good majority of people looking like, I don't do 2 to 3 a week or a month, right? And
right.
That's a big change, but man, I mean, you have to imagine, you've been around a long time, right? So you've seen, even not in this industry, too many brands that just get like with jingles. Like I have jingles in my head, like mattress stores, shit like that.
Right.
And it's just drilled into your head that you'll never forget. And it's the same concept. You have people like Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, all these people. And the reason why they're so popular, is not necessarily, obviously they're smart and what they're saying, but they're just in your face constantly. And the message hasn't changed. Like as an example, we take Gary, for instance, he says the same shit over and over and over. Every video, he chops it up, puts it in a lot of different spaces. It doesn't matter. Like, because what I tell the agents is, again, once we develop all this and we start pumping out content, it is not necessarily your message. Too many people are focused in on, I've sold X amount of listings, or I've done this, and you're trying to get out your social proof versus just getting on camera and shooting. It literally could be about anything, Andre. It doesn't even, my cat, this, that, and the other. I was driving in this beautiful neighborhood where I farm and, whatever, right? And it's just the fact of getting out there. That's it. It's just the consistency of putting the face out there.
How long are these videos?
Less than 4 minutes.
Okay.
has to be less than 4 minutes, preferably between 2 and 3.5 minutes. And when you're running, YouTube, either you're running YouTube ads or you're running, you're doing the YouTube videos, obviously the title has to be catchy. To be honest with you, the first 5 seconds, preferably 3 seconds, need to grab someone's attention immediately.
Okay. Are you giving a call to action at the end for real estate, or are you just shooting day in the life of?
Okay, both. Okay, so here's what I've been kind of we've been testing the waters and been working pretty good, and I see it as a wave of the future. But branding itself is definitely, just you set aside a certain amount of money for that. Understand that it's a branding piece. Hard to sometimes pinpoint an ROI of where it's coming from, but it's something that you have to do because it will ultimately generate recognition and listings, right?
Mm-hmm.
The YouTube ads, so you can do YouTube pre-roll ads. Are you familiar with those?
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
explain that for the audience because I don't know if everybody else is.
Yeah. So obviously, so if you're targeting Andre's searching for homes in San Diego, whatever, home value in San Diego, this, that, and the other, you can target that and redirect them to YouTube on their videos. So like if they all of a sudden, Andre starts looking at a cute cat playing with a ball of yarn on on YouTube.
Right, as I'm known to do.
Right, exactly. Man, I've been spent too many hours on YouTube sometimes. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it's funny because then you have those ads that pop up, right? And some people are annoying, but I've clicked on many of those myself, and it's something that has to be catchy enough. But just imagine the video going, "Hey, this is Dean Aguilar. I just sold a home that may impact the value of your house in your neighborhood within the last 30 days. Click the link below for your free home assessment, whatever you want," right? The video is just very short, sweet, and it could be, you're looking for the right timing for the people that you're targeting through Google.
I like that. That makes sense.
And so the other part to that is obviously the branding piece. You want it to be as much as possible out in all social media aspects. As an example, when I was selling solo in a few years back, there's an area here in Chula Vista, right? Chula Vista, San Diego, that I hammered with video. I was getting bam. Yes, over, and it was random stuff. It was just me out in the neighborhoods talking to different people, and I would rotate the videos in and out. One video got 75,000 views.
What was that about?
Within a 60-day period. Honestly, it was one of the top Mexican restaurants in Chula Vista. I knew the owner, right? And so everybody goes there. And so
you're doing this on an iPhone, right? Like it's not like production. You're not hiring somebody to follow around with a video camera here, right?
No, I mean now yes, but no, yeah, no.
Well, I mean back then. I'm saying for the agent who's just starting to think about it.
For sure, dude. I mean the iPhone, geez. I mean that's as good as any camera that you'll ever get. You have a tripod set up. What we do now, so we had an agent just recently. We created a title for the show. We created her name, right? And what she's known by now today. And we went out there on location, shot in different spots that she wanted to focus in on and the niches that she does. She loves fashion and clothing. So we were shooting in front of every fashion and clothing. She would target all the people in her age group because she's 25 years old. Mm-hmm. And she would target those people. And she would target between 25, 35 years old, and including her Instagram. And she would go live, right? And what was interesting is she sold last year 17 homes, of which 7 of them came from Instagram.
Interesting.
Yes. So I think for the people that are watching this video, they got to understand that tried and true will always be there, right? There's always the door knocking expires, FISBOs, get it.
Right.
Totally get it. We can go into 100 different ways on how to maximize that and with the touches and all that, right? Mm-hmm. And scripting. But with all the stuff that's happening in the industry and all the tech that's coming out, including, I mean, I can't imagine, dude, you've been seeing some changes in this industry and even just the way that, we communicate, that 10 years from now, there's going to be all kinds of crazy AI voice type shit, right? Yeah. And so the quicker you can get ahead of it, the better. And in a market that shifts, that may end up shifting, whoever makes the loudest noise wins.
That's a good soundbite. But that's actually a really powerful insight. All jokes aside, in a moving and shifting market, he or she who makes the loudest noise wins, because you catch attention.
Look, too many people possibly watching, right? And God bless you. If they don't start now with social media or branding or creating a celebrity version of themselves, when the ball drops, the people
attractive character, as they say in marketing speak.
Exactly, right? When the ball drops, the people who have been doing it are going to be the people that all those people who want to buy and sell are going to go to, just flat out. Because number one, they're going to be searching online, and that person who's been branding so much is literally going to be everywhere online. Right.
Wayne Solomons was on talking about this. He's like, the market is shifting rapidly and quickly, and agents are oftentimes doing one of two things: burying their head in the sand and ignoring it, or not doing anything about it, or freaking out over it.
Yes.
Right? And freaking out completely and just running around like a chicken with their head cut off. And I'm and to the point is, and I think what I'm hearing you say is, when it's shifting and you don't know where it's going, then you just want to be everywhere from a branding perspective. Yep. That's basically what the antivirus against the virus of rapid change.
Absolutely.
Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Absolutely.
I get a little cerebral in my mind, but that's how that's how I'm seeing it as you're explaining, is like, okay, because we can't stop change. Change is going to happen. It's happening faster than ever. Right now we have market shift, technology shift, and culture shift. We got 3 massive shifts happening across the nation.
Yep.
Right? Demographic shifts too. If that's all happening, how do you, if you see it from the perspective of a virus, and it's kind of negative, but a virus, a change, how do you get the antivirus? How do you stop the flu? Right? Yeah. What I'm hearing you share with me almost sounds like the inoculation against that.
Absolutely. I mean, look, okay. So think of it this way. We just talked about what happens in the shift where people are like, they pretend like it doesn't happen or they don't do anything about it. I think too many people are not thinking about the long game. They're being 100% reactive, right?
Transactional here and now. Yeah.
Cutting money, saving money, which is totally good, but very transactional, very worried, live in fear. Whereas if you put your head down and actually allocated, and this is the hardest part for anybody that's watching, and they're like, well, Dean, I just need to know how to get deals today. That's cool. You will always be living in today. Okay. If you don't plan for the long game, and the long game being, the old way of doing it was sending out 3 flyers a month to a farm, spending thousands and thousands of dollars, waiting 18 months for that to pop off. I think they're missing the boat on the long play, because when it does drop, their name will be out there if they spend a little bit of money to brand, just a little bit, and you can make it as big as you want. Like for me, I've been blessed to, pump up my social media to like 11,000 followers and this, that, and the other, but it was from so much content. It didn't happen overnight. It was something that I had to build over the last few years. But now that I have a little bit of attention, right, it allows me to do different things in different areas and different, things of business that I want to go into and that are interest of me. And the same thing applies when you're going after business in your real estate.
All right, I want to circle back to being making sure we break down the tactical parts of this really, really well. I feel like there's a little bit more depth that you can share with us. Let's really keep going with the role play of you're coaching me and I'm one of your new agents. Okay.
Okay.
As you share that, I'm thinking like, okay, what do I like and what's the neighborhood I want to be in? So I'm in Sacramento right now. Let's say that I want to dominate the upper 48s. It's like the neighborhood that's like from the 40th Street to like 50th Street. It's really nicer homes, nicer area. That's where I'd like to get listings. Okay. So let's say that. And I don't know if you guide me after I'm done talking, but so I'm telling you, Dean, all right, this is where I want to get listings. I want to dominate this market here, and maybe like West Sacramento too. Like there's some fun neighborhoods out there, slightly lower price point, a little bit more volume. I know that. So those are the 2 places I want to be, Dean. I really like coffee shops. I know every coffee shop in town. That's how I explore every new city. Is I get to know it through its coffee shops and coffee culture. It's kind of weird, but that's how I do it. I like renting muscle cars on weekends and going for joy rides. And I like I like going for drives on the weekends. I like exploring just different random little places. I like stopping at a fruit stand and like checking it out. And I like gyms and working out. I like powerlifting. So these are three things that I like, and these are the markets I want to be in. How do I go be a branding? How do I go be a branding? How do I brand myself now?
Okay, love it. Okay, so first thing I would do is this, and I can't say this loudly enough. First of all, let me ask you this: why would you want to be in those areas? And is the answer because of price point?
Price point is a part of it.
Okay.
I actually, you might laugh, I love driving through those neighborhoods and how it makes me feel to be inside those neighborhoods and what the homes look like, the architecture and just what it looks like. I just really like going into those neighborhoods. Like sometimes I'll drive to those neighborhoods to get a cup of coffee and just walk around in that neighborhood, even though I don't live there.
I love it. Okay, great. So that's good. The reason why I asked you this question is, as an example, here in San Diego, I come in, I have agents that come in and they go, I want to market in La Jolla.
Because you want the $10 million list.
Yes, right. And I'm like, okay. So let's talk about that for a second. So first of all, we need to dissect turnover rates. So once we do all that, right? Once we get all the
Take a neighborhood with a good turnover rate.
Got to have a turnover rate.
Volume.
Can't have, exactly. It cannot have an agent that has that's a dominant agent more than 20% of the market. Okay. For us to even attempt to go in and start, because you're working against way bad odds, right?
Okay. All right.
Okay. So we build an avatar of yourself, which is exactly what you said, all the things that you like. And now what we do is we start creating a show from Andre on how he wants to deliver the show. Comedic. Okay. Do you want to go the comedic route? Do you want to go the informational route? Right? Do you want to go the man on the street route? Right? And a lot of times what we do is we will have either yourself or someone for you reach out to the local businesses, right, that are of interest to you, and you're holding the interviews from them, promoting their business, right? And they are here's the most important thing is they need to cross promote you, right?
And a lot online platform.
Their entire platform. And the beauty is a lot of these businesses who are successful that you may like have a tremendous following.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And if you know how to do some basic edits and you know how to be at least somewhat presentable on camera, and to be honest with you, that comes with over time. It just gets better, right? And better, right?
And there's plenty of short YouTube videos on editing videos. Like step by step nowadays. You don't. Yeah.
iPhone has an app. That you can cut and edit. Like literally, it's just so simple, dude. I think too many people overthink it. Authenticity wins. Be authentic. Don't do 100 cuts. Just if cuss words fly, cool. Just the public needs to see who you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to target all your interests, and you're going to make sure that one of the things that you can do to boost this is you want to make sure that any major events that those businesses have, you're there. So that's when you're going to circle around shooting. On top of that, you're then going to take that data, you're going to take that information, right? And you're going to target every single person on Facebook, Instagram, Google that has those interests. Okay. You're also going to target every single person that is a seller that owns a home in those areas. And you're going to boost this video to them with an engagement boost. This is not a lead generation boost. This is an engagement boost. Okay. So the engagement boost is just to see your branding. And we're talking about cents on the dollar. The video will replay over and over and over again. Right. And so everyone who's in that neighborhood is going to know that coffee shop. They just are. Right. And with you in their feeds, it's powerful. And so from there, you're building a collective library, right? Of all the places. And again, Jim, if they have like a 10K, become a sponsor, shoot at the sponsor as a correspondent. There's literally tons of things that you can do. Make sure that you provide giveaways, right? If you can, if you can do pop-ups wherever they are, whatever the minimal amount is, do that. Shoot. Remember, here's the thing. Shoot everything. Shoot everything. Video everything. Because you're gonna use this as content for chopped up 1 minute blurbs with Instagram, right? And be able to use. By the way, IGTV now they've come a long way, right? And they're now allowing you, for every post that you do, long form on Instagram, you can select for it to be automatically uploaded into IGTV. So you don't have to do the 2 separate uploads.
Got it.
And the reason why that's important is because since they rolled this out like 2 weeks ago, I think is when they actually rolled that out, our engagement on IGTV. So as an example, the most recent video that I put up had 700 views in, I think, 3 days. Whereas my IGTV in the past was like 2-3 views, because people would literally have to click on it, right?
Right.
And so the reason why I'm telling you this is because it's all important. It's all about attention. It's all about eyes, right? And so that's one of the things that I would do with you, is immediately become the mayor, the digital mayor, as they say, right? In areas that you want to focus in on, with the people who have clout in those areas. Does that help?
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that does. And you're becoming associated with the people who have clout.
With the people who have clout. I mean, you know, most of these people, so I'll share with you. Okay. So when I was in DC, I started my career in DC, right? And there's a place called Ben's Chili Bowl in DC. Very, very, all the presidents, every single sitting president has gone there. Okay. And I used to frequent that place so much that I became friends with the owner, right? And I started networking with him, doing little events there, you know, when he would have little events. And after a while of becoming a face there, I was there so much, right? This is my little portly days. I started getting referrals from the actual owner. And so I know that there are a lot of people that are networking and not only just shooting videos with the owners, but these owners know tons of people. And if you're the only real estate agent that is, you know, consistently going by and you know, pumping up their businesses, they're going to continuously refer people to you. Another person, you know who Kyle Whistle is?
I do not.
Kyle Whistle is a very big, you know, he's a big agent here in San Diego, does an amazing job. I have a lot of respect for him. He has an area that he dominates in Santee, okay? He's been doing this show called East County Eats for...
I've heard about him. Okay, now, yeah, I've heard about him.
Okay, so fantastic. He was just on a seminar. I forgot what I was watching. But anyway, it's the same concept, dude. You know what I mean? He's taken this and just went all in. And the businesses that he's been highlighting has been literally using him for services, you know, for listings and referrals and all that. So, but he spent quite a bit of time doing things that immediately didn't have an ROI, which is what I think the biggest problem that most people have is, why am I doing this? I don't see anything. Is this even working? Why am I spending $200, $300, $400 a month to boost all this crap? We're just, again, they're not thinking about the long game.
Yeah, I just looked at his website to see, so I see exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. That's so smart.
Yeah, I mean, it's you now become, you know, there's other things that you can grab on in your local area. We used to be a part of a great company. Craig Sewing owns a media company here in San Diego, and he runs a show called The American Dream, where he partners with all the top agents here in the area. And you may want to consider looking into stuff like that. It is a little bit of money, but these are actual TV shows, production shows that are built around a person out in their community, showcasing their listings, whatever it is. But again, it's another piece of content, right? And I got to tell you, okay, so I want you to picture this. Besides just showing content and gaining attention, imagine that I showed up, Andre, to your house on a listing appointment, and I just showed you, you know, some of the things that I'm involved in the community, and how I network in the community to attract buyers and sellers to your home. And I'm able to display that to you. as opposed to any other agent that just comes in and is literally giving you a 72-point marketing checklist. And just so you understand, marketing is not a checklist at all. It's just, it's obviously finding out wants and needs of a seller and then developing a strategy around it. But nothing is going to ever beat attention to that person's home ever. And if you can bring that on high level, then that's going to be an interest to them.
This in part becomes a way of life.
100%. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think, now more than ever, again, I'm so bought into the social media aspect and the branding aspect that it is the best way to communicate your voice to the world. A lot of people, and I know a lot of people that are watching this have a struggle of what am I going to say? What am I going to do? How do I look? Does that sound like, me? And once you get past all that, it becomes second nature. And to be honest with you, every single agent, no matter if you're new or been in business for a while, everyone has a voice. Everyone has an opinion, right? It's funny because you and I were talking about prior to the interview, you got a lot of fucking rock stars on here, dude. You got tons of players. You got players that, millions and millions of dollars, and then some that are just niche, right? But everyone has a voice, and you can never second guess, are you worthy enough to get on camera and be that person? I can only give, right? So as an example, I can only give me, if no one watches this shit, it is what it is. Hopefully I touch one of your viewers.
Right. Yeah. You'll touch more than one. This is pretty powerful content, but I get exactly what you're saying. The thing that you and I know after being on camera a lot is that how little that kind of stuff matters. It's just being presentable. It really is all it comes down is really where the bar is set. There's no such thing as perfections. You find your own voice and style over time. You only discover it by doing it.
That's it. Yep.
But if you pick a theme, man on the street, informative, comedic, like you're saying, and I'm reading in my notes, it makes it easier. You just got to give yourself a theme and go for it.
Yeah.
Some tactical questions for you for implementation. I shoot these videos. Let's say I'm putting them on Facebook. Am I promoting them? Like, am I boosting them with like $5 or $10 or something? My question for you is, what kind of page am I putting them on, a group or a business page?
Okay. So, you're going to put it on all. Okay. The short answer is all. You can get, what I would recommend, there's a application called Later. Okay. Later will allow you to auto post everything. Okay. So your YouTube, Instagram, business page, it'll do it all, right? So you can set that to, if you're shooting enough content, you can set it to automatically auto post. You definitely, here's another interesting thing. Sorry, I'm about to go off on another thing here, but with your personal Facebook page, okay? Some people are like, hey, I want to keep my personal page. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily agree with it. And the reason being is that's where all of the people who will ever refer anything to you in the history of anything are there. You know what I mean? So that's
sphere of influence.
That's it. That is the new sphere of influence. That is where you're going to get the most eyes. And the more noise you make on your personal page, the more referrals you get. I know because I've got people left and right that are getting referrals from Facebook and Instagram daily.
As long as it's noise that people enjoy hearing, not noise where it's like you're just spamming listings you have, just posting freaking listing posts. Like people are going to block you, not block you. They're going to do the ignore thing for 30 days on Facebook where you can do that. Where you can ignore somebody's posts for 30 days out of your feed.
Yeah, and definitely. So that's a great point. So none of the, you don't want to post an open house pick every single week and do this, that, and the other. It's more, honestly, it's video. You getting on there, being personable, talking about the things that you're experiencing. I'm developing a little bit of a show right now around my wife. So my wife actually runs the real estate team. She's a beast, dude. She does about 70 deals a year, personal production. But we're doing a show behind the scenes. So think of it as like a, kind of like an HDTV. So like you're going through a home inspection and you're seeing all this crap. You're like, shit, I got to deal with foundation issues. And
Right.
You have someone that's helping you just shoot behind the scenes and showing how you're negotiating on your buyer's behalf to try to get the seller to do X, Y, and Z. So imagine taking that content as a show, okay, and showing the world how you work and negotiate successfully through a transaction for them.
Yeah.
Powerful.
I could imagine myself like going through that, doing that, then looking at the camera outside in the driveway, like, all right, so you see, as a real estate agent, here's what I'm going to have to deal with now. I'm going to have to do X, Y, and Z. I got to call this guy, and this guy. And then I got to make this happen. I also got to make sure this happens before this happens because this will affect that. So the clock is ticking. We've got 3 hours, and like just something like that, just something fun and exciting. It's almost like creating like a super mini episodes of just this ongoing, never ending daytime soap opera.
That's it. And think about it like this. So, and for anybody who's watching, I know that you guys have seen a lame ass, boring, this is what you do in a home inspection. And like, you're literally going down the list of a process. No one wants to see that. No one wants to sit through that. Very few people are going to show up to listen to you just literally go. It's boring to a lot of people. What you're doing, what you just said, right, which is the same thing as a concept, is you're literally saying the same shit, but entertainment.
Right, in an entertaining way, yeah. Giving it meaning, context.
Giving it meaning, context. You know what I mean? Like, geez, that's the way people love. Reality TV is in.
Yeah, you're humanizing it too, right? You, through your eyes and the way you see it and are experiencing it, is the humanization of that boring thing.
That's it.
Right?
And I think that the quicker people can realize that that's the way of the future. I mean, think about all the people that are coming into the market that are going to be buyers with millennials and all that. They talk, view, consume way differently than the past. Okay. And they're not going to relate.
That's that cultural and demographic shift I was talking about at the beginning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you sitting on a piece of paper going down the list of the things that you should do and not do and how you should stage your home and this, that, and the other. No, you need to walk into a house and go, see this, people? Don't do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And go into, I mean, like, just,
I get it.
Yeah.
What's a budget that I should expect to spend in those first 45 days from a boosting videos? What's like, is it $10 a day, $5 a day, $100 a day? What is it?
Yeah. So I tell everybody that, and not everybody has this, but I tell everybody $250 a month. That's it.
Oh, come on. You can borrow that from somebody if you don't have it. That's doable. You can go pawn something. 200. I mean, how bad do you want it? You know what I mean?
And remember, you're rotating copies, different copies and content, right? So $5 a day. You can rotate every 2 weeks, 2 separate videos, which is what you should be doing. Think about it as, obviously digital farming, right? So
wait, so you're shooting all these videos, 2 to 3 videos a day, but you're only boosting 2 or 3 of them per week and then having them run for the week?
Right, for the long form. So
for the long form video, got it. Okay, so the short 2 to 4 minute videos are just like 2 to 3 times a day, posting it on my personal, posting it on my group, posting it up on Instagram, IGTV. But then I have 2 to 3 longer form videos that I record per week, and those I boost for like 7 days.
You got it. That's exactly it.
Okay.
And that's with the targeting. That's with the areas, with the interest and the things. And you got to keep in mind, you also want to target your own people with that same.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So your custom audience and looking at lookalike audiences and all that good stuff.
I have to imagine, like, as I'm hearing you explain this and describe this, and I'm like, if I did this, honestly, if I did this for 90 days straight in a neighborhood, like focus on neighborhood, because you can drop a pin on Facebook and just circle prospect with video, basically is what it is. Yep. It's digital circle prospecting. TM, I just trademarked that. How's it? If I did it for 90 days straight and then maintained, I would have to imagine it would be so freaking hard for a competitor to try to come in and take market share.
I got to share with you a story. You ready?
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to relate to this, who've been farming regularly, like with traditional farming for a while. I have a friend from Washington, D.C. He's been licensed a little longer than me. He's been licensed 20 years, been licensed about 17, 18 years, right? He broke into a niche farm about 5 years into his business. When I got going, he was already starting to catch a lot of wind, right? He maintained that that farm for years, was the number one agent pumping in and out over the last
Doing basics, real estate basics, the basics that we all know.
Mailers and drops.
Okay.
Mailers
All right.
and drops, right?
Geo
So
farming with mailers. Okay.
thousands of dollars. And he's one of these guys who does a little bit of Facebook here and there, does a little bit of this, but is not all in, right? Not all in. Now, I get a call, right? And this was recent. This is probably within the last 3 weeks, month. And we're talking business, we're talking shop. And he just, I dug in because he's just out of the blue saying, hey, I got this guy, that's been infiltrating my area, whatever, right? And so I start talking to him about it. And he goes, yeah, I went on this listing appointment. I keep hearing this dude's name and I'm getting beat out. And I was like, well, what's going on? This is what he couldn't get it, right? And this is what he said. I don't understand, dude. No one fucking outspends me. I send more mailers. This guy doesn't send a piece of fucking mail. And I'm like, dude, he's the digital mayor. He's just outspend you in the areas where you should be spending. He took your $5,000 a month and he put $5,000 on Facebook, Instagram, Google, and YouTube, and now is spanking you. And
no way. He wouldn't even need to spend $5,000 on video.
No, not at all, dude. That's 1,000.
He could probably spend 1,000, and he's getting way more impression because 1 minute of video is worth 1.6 million written words. That's what I learned from 2 other speakers on this summit this year. A minute of, when it comes to psychological bonding and persuasion, 1 minute of video is equivalent to 1.6 million written words.
That's amazing. I mean, so there you go. Right?
How many postcards do you have to send to get 1.6 million words into somebody's brain? You never know.
And think about this. What happens to a postcard? You get it, you see it, realtor.
Unless you follow up with it, you throw it away.
Impressions in your face all the time. Jesus, it's
that
guy again. It's that guy again.
Video, right? Yeah. You know what else it does? Here's the other thing. You cannot outspend this with direct mail. You know why? This is what it does. I learned, I forget what this is called psychologically, but it's a principle that happens when you're constantly getting your content in front of somebody, especially if it's video, they start thinking you're their friend.
Yeah.
Because the psychological glitch is, who do I see all the time?
Yes.
Friends and family.
Yep.
Right? So if I start seeing you all the time, I feel like you're my friend and I know you. It's fake. It's actually a trick that the brain plays on us.
Yep.
Because we're still so rudimentary, right? Like it's pattern recognition, and you're a freaking pattern. I see you all the time, so you're a friend. Like literally, that's what happens in our brains.
You're 100% correct. Let me just touch on, remember when I was talking about Chula Vista, right? Me doing the soul. Okay. So fast forward of me starting a team, there was an agent that was working that market, right? And those videos that I was running when I was solo was just, pumping on and on and on. Very, like I said, pennies on the dollar, engagement video, this, that, and the other. This dude was holding a open house in Chula Vista, in an area that I actually don't run the ads in, right? Because I don't run it for all I was running it for pockets in the subdivisions that I farmed. And he did his deal. He did the whole door knocking around, invite the neighbors, the whole thing. And on 2 separate occasions of door knocking, they noticed the sign and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're with Dean, right?" And the guy was like, "Oh yeah, you know Dean?" He's like, "Oh yeah, we know Dean. We see him all the time on our Facebook, right?" And to your point, they feel like they knew me, and I never sent a piece of mail or even really targeted that area at all. But just the mere fact that I was in their face all the time, they already knew me. And how powerful is that when they're not in the business, right? It's just they're a consumer, and they know me as the realtor.
Yeah. This is a game changer.
It's unbelievable, dude. I mean, like, if I can just get people to have a shift in mindset of where they're allocating some of their dollars to get on an iPhone, shoot and send. Even if it isn't only just to your database, you're going to see an increase in referrals 10 times in any piece of mailer or a phone call that you can ever get because of the consistency of how you can do it on social media.
your story about your DC buddy who's been basically a dominant agent for 20 years in a neighborhood, now getting basically a coup. It's a political coup,
Yes,
right?
that's
It's a
exactly what it is.
realtor, it's a real
Yep.
estate coup. Uh, this competing agent is using guerrilla tactics, guerrilla warfare, right? He's on a shoestring budget, probably. I don't know the guy or gal, but I'm going to imagine they don't,
Yeah.
yeah, shoestring budget. It's just the right tool applied in it's leverage. It's the right tool applied in the right way, triggering the right marketing principles.
Yep.
And here's your friend, your associate, who has spent over 20 years. If he's been that farm, he's easily spent over 100 grand marketing to it.
God. Yo.
Like, I mean, easily.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it's for nothing.
No.
Like, it's literally evaporating like a house of cards right before.
Blink of an eye. And you know what's funny is I know that
Some kid with an iPhone out there is just,
that's exactly it.
That's what it is.
Exactly. It's amazing. And I think it's a lot of people who are just holding on to just wanting it to do it the same way, which is, again, totally fine. Have those pillars in place, but wake up.
But do not be burying your head in the sand and ignoring this.
For sure. 100%.
Somebody's going to come along and take your lunch money.
It'll change your business. And I guess when you are also farming and trying to go for listings, you have to be really aware of who the demographic is. So as an example, like, if I was dealing with people who are younger professionals between, 28 and 40, let's say, or whatever, 28 and 35, I would be doing a shitload on Instagram. If I was doing somebody that was 45 or over, maybe 50 or over, Facebook.
Got it. That makes sense. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is stuff that you're going to learn as you dig into it.
For sure. Yeah, this all comes.
You and I could probably do a 3-hour masterclass right now on like a 180-point checklist.
Yes.
Speaking of, and I know we got to respect time. Speaking of, we're kind of at the end of our time together, though I don't want to stop talking with you, but unfortunately for today,
I enjoyed it.
But speaking of checklists and a helpful guide, you're actually giving away a PDF implementation guide for everything we've talked about here today. How to get at least 3 deals in the next 45 days using the power of video branding.
Absolutely. Yeah, I will provide that to every single person that's watching. And as long as you can implement it, you guys are going to change your life.
Well, I just want to say thank you for that. For those of you who are watching, there's a link below this video. Click on that and go grab it and start implementing on it. This is really powerful. For those of you listening, if nothing else, remember that story that Dean just shared about his friend in the DC market who's been farming a place for 20 years, dominant agent, and now is getting ousted out of there. That's how powerful this is. And if you combine it with what you've learned from other speakers, I think if you take this and combine it with still some of the basics, that is where you'll keep an iron grip on a neighborhood or on a pocket, on a market that you will keep it in an iron grip. But I think with what technology is doing and what's possible with it, with exactly what Dean has so masterfully laid out for us today here, if you do not start adapting to these changes, and if you're continue to have a growing, thriving business in your market, it's only because you've been lucky enough that somebody hasn't come along with it yet to your fishing hole and started taking all your fish.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there's so many, I know we're running short on time, but man, there's so many, like Blockbuster. I mean, Toys R Us. We can go down the list of all the people who are like, that's never going to happen. Cool.
Yeah. I'm the one unicorn that will never happen to. No, that's not how it works. Dean, man, thank you so much for showing up with this energy, this passion. I knew we were going to rock the house. You did exactly that. I've taken 2 pages of notes.
You're amazing, dude. I appreciate it. I hope everybody, got some value out of this, and I appreciate you having me.
Hey, before I let you go, I want to take a minute to acknowledge you.
Okay. I
want to really acknowledge you on the fact that you're not sitting on this and using it only for your agents and your team, though you could, right? You're not sitting on this and only using it for your competitive advantage. You're on here giving us away to literally thousands of agents. We have over 8,000 agents registered with us this year. You're giving this away to thousands of agents freely. And I just want to acknowledge you for that and just for your spirit and your energy showing up. Like, you truly have a heart to serve. It's obvious to me. I interview a lot of people. I can see that in you. And that's really, really cool, man. So I just want to say thank you for that. And I want to acknowledge you for that. I think people who don't educate or train, they don't necessarily realize how tough or hard it can be. How demanding it can be, how draining it can be, and the fact that you are just showing up and giving and educating and leading with your Truth Hustle brand to your team, your real estate team, to your brokerage, and just what you're doing at large. If you haven't heard it before, and I hope you have, but I want you to hear it from me personally, publicly, in front of my entire audience, that what you're doing is awesome. You're awesome. And I really hope you keep doing what you're doing, man. You're making a change. And for the people who watch this interview, for those who take action, I hope they reach out to you to thank you for this personally and to tell you the success stories that you've created from this summit, because I know you've planted seeds that will turn into success. So thank you, man. I really want to acknowledge you for that.
Oh my gosh, I love you for that, buddy. That means a lot to me, and I totally appreciate it.
Awesome.
It's been awesome, man. Thank you for having me on here.
Thanks, Dean.
All right.